Peace, reflections. I am you, and you are I. Universe. Eon. Tapping in. It is Sunday, November 23rd, 6:27 p.m. exactly on their Gregorian man-made calendar within their man-made time spell on their man-made calendars. It's a little bit before their Thanksgiving holiday. You know, these mass energy harvesting rituals. If you hear people in the background, that's my sister and her friends. But I just ate some man-made BS again. I've been in a rut. I've been in many different energetic ruts. But as it is that I'm trying to break free completely from this man-made drug food, there's been many times where I've risen and fell and risen and fell and risen and fell. I'll cleanse myself from this food. I'll go a few days. I'll go on a 24-hour fast here, a 30-hour fast there, 3 days eating only fruits there, 7 days eating only fruits there. And every single time I move with the intention to fully cleanse and break away from this man-made drug food through my own literal experience of doing it, right? Daring to try. I have literally proven through my own action of living through the experience of stopping eating all this man-made drug food that not only do we not need to eat it to survive, it's actually greatly hindering us in our being and is the main cause for much of our sickness, disease. It keeps us in a very low vibrational state of consciousness, very toxic, very full of all these horrible chemicals. And overall, one of the biggest effects for I, apart from just physical health, is the actual effect on my consciousness and soul. It greatly changes my whole state of being. For you are putting this thing into, like you're directly putting this thing into your body. And they'll call it this blanket coat of food. But there are so many different things that can fall under their umbrella of the term food. And all of these things could be made of anything they choose to make it of. Right now, today, they can choose to make a new product called whatever they want to make it that could be made of literally anything they choose to make it. And they'll just make a term for it, a word like, I don't know, sweet cranes. Just some random fucking, they can just make some random word and call it like a Hot Pocket, for example. What the fuck is a Hot Pocket? What is that word? But you see the idea of the food and you look at the idea of the Hot Pocket instead of looking at the ingredients of everything it's made from and doing your due diligence to research what these ingredients do, what their effects on your body do. And then most people, they don't even do the research to even look what's in what they're eating. But then they'll come from a state of acting as if they know what they're eating. Like, they'll dismiss you completely if you come with any type of energy talking about the food and how the food is the cause of anything they're going through, especially when it goes to sickness. Like, many of the people around I, or just people in life in general, are suffering from sicknesses that they don't even have to suffer from. Like, if they knew the actual other side of what happens when you stop eating this food, and if they broke the whole reality that is surrounded by the food, like, it's different if you have a genetic illness or a certain specific type of sickness, like, I don't know, like fucking, like something that's like almost, because everything I'm trying to think of, like when it comes to cancer, diabetes, Alzheimer's, arthritis, skin disorders, organ sicknesses, almost 99% of all illness that isn't like some thing that's caused by like a physical thing or like a genetic thing. Almost basically all of it damn near comes from the food you're eating, or it comes from an outside source of toxicity where it's still the same energy of why the food's making you sick. For example, if you're breathing pollutants in the air that are toxic, that's an external way of breathing in toxins, which is what I'm trying to get you to see, that when you eat the food, it's not about the thing that you're eating, it's about what's in it, and the fact of what's in it is what's making you sick. Because, for example, if you drink bleach, the effects of bleach are literally the effects of bleach. If you eat this thing that has this effect on your body, it's literally going to have that effect on the body. If you wear blue, you're literally wearing blue. So I'm trying to say the goldfish isn't the goldfish. It's the 50-something ingredients on the back of the back of the box that you can read and actually see what it's doing to you. And then deeper than even needing to read, really, and see what they're doing to you, you can just feel it through your own experience when you eat this food. Because you, deep down, not even deep down, you don't need to go that fucking deep. It's just we eat it our whole life. So if you always are influenced by a drug, you'll never realize what it feels like to not be on it. So this food is the biggest form of a drug because you eat it your whole life and they introduce all these things through the food into you. It's not the food, it's their access into you. They're tricking us through the food to directly access our vessel and bodies on a way we don't let them into our bodies in any other scenario. Besides maybe their vaccines. The only way they can change your whole mind, your body, your hormones, everything about you by studying everything in you and then inputting in the foods what they want to change everything about you. I mean, think about it. These scientists, think about how much they know. Think about how much they present to the public with their science. And then whatever they present to the public is just the surface level. So in their science, all they do is study all this shit all day long. They know all these different effects of everything. You really trust these people with all they do all day long to not use it in a way to where they're making these foods knowing what they do, all this stuff about your body? They already tell you at the base level they have scientists, they literally McDonald's and food companies have scientists paid on the clock to make food specially designed to be specially addictive, down to the crunch in the chip bag. Every single crunch, flavor, texture of the food you're eating, everything is designed against you, and I'm wondering why I'm so addicted to this food. Not only is the food designed to be horribly addictive to a whole new type of level than just a drug. Not only that, but it's also the fact that I ate it my whole life, one, and two, everyone around me eats it, even though it's making them sick, and they're just unaware. And I actually have done the blessing on myself to dare to stop eating the food. At 15, I correlated how sick I was and how directly after eating all this fucking shit, the macaroni and cheese I ate, I remember the last meal I ate. Before my first time, the science would go fully plant-based. It was 2020. I was 15. It was April to May, the first few weeks of lockdown. It was when the energy started ushering into the planet. And then they locked the energies down again from 2020 onward. But the energy was very strong in 2020. A lot of people started waking up in 2020. And then they reintroduced a lot of shit to null us back asleep. Once you fully wake up, you can never go back to sleep, especially when it goes to this food, right? Once you stop eating the food for any extended period of time, and you realize how it feels when you then decide go back to eating it, when you tap into the power you have within you, the clarity, the real feelings, the energy, the connection of life you have within you that gets blocked out from having all this food in your body. All this food in your body, one of the biggest reasons they're having you stuff all this food in your body, especially the meat, is it disconnects you from source, especially the meat. It disconnects you from the source of where your mind is coming from, the life in you. You get stuck in this body, you get stuck here instead of your higher mind. All the energy is coming through you into this body. But especially the meat, But having all this food constantly in you, it's muddling your connection to the source. It's dulling the reception. But when it is that people start to really find out, especially my people, so-called Black and Latino people, when we really start to find out that not only do we not need the food, we're really just choosing to take on this addition to our being. The same way you can choose to start smoking, but you don't need to smoke a cigarette. But the moment you start it, it can seem like, damn, you always did this thing and you need this for your being. It's like you're taking on a new addition. Now, what if I told you about 200 years ago when they started taking us out the woods, my people out nature, where we only ate fruits, never would dare kill our own animal and eat off the dead body rotting off the ground? My people, Black and Latino people, white people, they know they come from eating animals. They have it in their genetics. They're genetically different. They're biologically different. They have different stomach acids. There's canines and their teeth are sharper. They can burn the meats, and they're a lower energetic being made in our image. They only have a spirit, but they're animal hybrids with a drop of our blood that we were trying to put in tune with life. Like, there's a reason that the whole world is so out of whack, and that deeper than racism, why it seems like these people just spread out from Europe, and ever since they spread out from Europe, they just came fucking ripping through everything and tearing through everything and just acting out of complete disharmony with nature. It's like they're a rogue science experiment unleashed on the planet gone wrong that has no idea why the fuck they're here. They took us out of nature. They spite us and they're racist towards us because deep down they understand that we have the real connection to life. We are souls. Even when it goes to the way they see us making music, dancing with each other, full of life, being out in the sun, vibrating with each other, being the whole way we are about everything, even down to why they copy us and want to be so much like us. And it isn't even a thing of us spiting them. I'm not speaking from animosity towards them. I'm speaking from the actual truth and I'm saying the actual truth of what's actually happened. And I'm not saying it from a state of hate or animosity. No, we're not like you. And not all human beings are bad. A lot of human beings are cool. We fuck with y'all, especially the ones who don't run shit. The ones who live amongst us. The middle class human beings, the poor class. The ones who live again amongst us in the ghettos, the ones who live amongst us in the regular world. No, the real enemy is the rich. We know who the real enemy is. So it doesn't have to do about racism. They're trying to, especially now, the energy is getting amplified greater and greater. They're really trying to push this race war. It's funny because you would swear, I see through it all, so I understand exactly what's happening and why the energy is getting so fucked now and everything's getting so, tense. But it seems like we've gone back to the 1900s damn near. When it goes to the social state, how all the energies are building up, and the man and woman war, the gender war, the race war. They just want division and all types of animosity and negativity, but especially the race war. You see all this shit happening with all these white boys getting together, swearing to be attacked. Bro, the funniest thing I be seeing is all these white people who be getting together talking about white power and getting, like, they be deep with it too, and they be swearing they're being oppressed. Like, nothing is funnier than a white man talking about the system is attacking. But it's just because there's two different camps, and a lot of these human beings got programmed with the rhetoric. A lot of these white people are genuinely convinced that their ancestors built everything. I mean, history was whitewashed. The elite set up where this system where they gave y'all a fake idea to defend for. These white people have a whole fake image of America and the founding fathers and really thinking they're so. Meanwhile, everything they had was stolen, raped, and copied, and almost everything was invented by a black man. We're finding out all the inventions down to the light bulb. Benjamin Franklin stole the light bulb invention from, something Bernanke or something. Like, almost every single invention was made by a quote-unquote black or Latino person. Because what I'm trying to get at through their words is that the whole idea of this body, this form, before there was a Bible, before there's anything to take your mind away from using your own, before you can use your own mind to connect to life, because if they never gave you a Bible and you were just allowed to connect to life with your own self and you never had something that snatched you to this religion or that religion, and you're just allowed to connect to life with your own source, which is what Jesus is talking about in that Bible anyway, because they literally killed the real black man who is behind that name Jesus, whose real name is Yeshua, who really is just one of many prophets. He isn't anything more special than any of my people. He's any black or Latino who starts to tap into their soul and understands the truth of life and then starts to spread that truth to his people. And what really happened with Yahshua, which is so sick, is they literally killed that man. He spoke against all the people pushing him. All the people pushing him now is everything he spoke against. The religions, the world leaders, the governments, everything. All of it. They feared him when he walked this world because they swore he was, because he was waking people up to their power. He was basically breaking the centralization of being able to control anyone externally, because if we all understand we are directly connected to the source of God within us, all our own temple, then everyone is their own leader. If everyone is their own leader and we're on our own, then it's like, you feel me? You're pulling away from the external centralization of having everyone give their one central attention to this one thing. But the biggest thing was that Yahshua's message is that, we are gods literally. He is an example of what we all can tap into. His name wasn't Jesus, and he wasn't a white man, but his story is very real. And they'll have you externalize your power and energy to him, and they'll tell you, you'll trust the people who killed Yahshua and put him on a cross, and use that very cross in a sick satanic cult type fashion and parade it around. I really want people to understand the level of sickness the whole Christianity shit is. Because if you really start to wake up and understand that, one, you're just listening to their rehab. This is what they do with everything. You're listening from the mouth of the oppressors who, just like we literally take our religions from the slave masters, the people who had, supposedly according to them, let them tell it, we were all slaves that came from Africa. We weren't all on this land, and it's not like they came to this land and killed a whole bunch of us off, enslaved the rest of us, and had the rest of us just fighting them alongside as we fell more and more. We were the Native Americans they talked about, but we're not even going to get that deep into it right now, right? When you understand to a level of seeing that Yahshua was just one of our species, a soul who was tapping into the truth, fighting against this whole system, Babylon. Now you let these people take his story, and you let the very people, why are you listening to the enemy tell you about shit? You're listening to them about their version of the story, of anything they want to talk about. Even when it goes to Yahshua's story, or the way they take that and put it into Christianity to then get you to worship Satan. Because everything Jesus was, or Yahshua was working against, or going against, those very beings he was going against then literally took his energy as a soul after they got him out of here, after they eliminated the threat. They then concocted a whole low vibrational light magic spell through religion to bind souls in this fake written up Christianity thing, where they're literally taking the being who spoke against religion, who spoke against, basically there was no set structure that Jesus was moving with. He was just tapping into life in his own way and waking up people as best as he could. When he would take people to lakes and what they would call baptizing, that wasn't even because they're trying to fit it into their mold of telling you in this certain specific energy with the white-faced Jesus, and put it in their specific religion energy. When outside religion, it's just a being within life, walking life as a black man, Yahshua, who was tapping into the energy of his soul and life around him, who was really doing things like mystical arts, all types of guru type spiritual to the deepest level, no type of religion. He was against all religion. He was fasting. When they talk about fasting for 40 days, 40 nights, that's one part of it, where he was going in all the different ancient schools, ancient Egypt, Timbuktu, he even went to, Aztecs and the Mayans, and literally he traveled the globe, Yahshua, and he went to all these different energies, and he was just picking up the pieces of the ruins of all these different crumbled, scattered pieces as we were falling more and more of our own, because there's two different energies. There's us being pulled into their system more and more as they build up their cities, and then there's them, the human beings coming from the Caucasus Mountains, building their world on top of us. So before they came and built all this shit on top of our shit, when they call ancient Egypt and all these ancient civilizations, they're all different pieces of one giant global civilization that we come from. And we were the Atlanteans. Atlantis wasn't no island. Atlantis is this whole realm. This realm is one realm within 9 realms within this planet. For it's a plane T. Because this is planet Tiamat. Plane Tiamat. A planet is composed of realms. Our whole idea of a planet is skewed. But when you actually tap into planets and realms and the whole idea of how things actually work within descending into matter or descending into densities, descending into planes of existence, there's waters. The cosmos is filled with waters. And there's planes of existence within whole portals of like spheres of bubbles of energies of like, basically a planet is a bubble container with all these realms within it. And planet Tiamat, planet Kai, within planet Kai, we are in the realm of Atlantis. This is why in Norse mythology they talk about Middle Earth, and all these different realms in the tree, the 9 realms within the tree. They get the idea from literally planet Kai. It's kind of literally like that. We're sitting in the middle, and we got 4 realms above us, 4 realms below us. And above us is actually the realm of what they call Asgard. Because Asgard is within planet Kai. And peace to the guy Rashad Jamal. I'm sharing some of his information. Or not his information, the information of the truth that he presented through his avatar. For if it's the truth, then the truth is the truth. It's literally the thing that exists in all our realities, the actual literal truth we're living in within life. So we're all trying to piece together the different pieces of the puzzle. And it's just crazy how cold they moved with the whole Yahshua, Jesus, religion, Christianity spell. Cause the actual person behind that white man, Jesus, is literally just one member of our species. Who's tapping into life. Not a religion, he was tapping into life. Moving in life. Deeply meditating, activating his God genetics, starting to do divine things. And he was telling his people that you can all do the same. The main thing Yahshua was, Yahshua, if he was here right now, what they want to call Jesus, not that white man, but if he was here now, he would be insulted by what they're doing with his soul. They're using his soul to magnetize all these people to this religion that speaks against everything he was against. He was literally against giving your energy to any type of religion. He was trying to get you to use yourself to tap into life. Ye are gods, literally. Because the whole way they're telling you it in the Bible is they're taking the actual story and everything else they talk about in the Bible. And because the Bible was logic, since we want to use logic and science for everything else, let's literally break it down. We haven't seen their white man God, and it's blasphemy if I start to tap into God, but they themselves want you to subconsciously believe white man is a God, and they place themselves in the sky. But literally, if we use logic, the Bible was literally written by people. Specifically, the first version was introduced by King James. You know, King James was a rapist. He killed his own mother. He was a homophobe. He was a genocidist. He was a pedagore. Not just a pedophile. He was a pedagore, meaning he ate the children. A lot of these politicians, a lot of these people, they aren't just pedophiles. They be kidnapping our children, specifically black and Latino children and black and Latino women, and they be eating our organs and shit. Because of the life force in us. The carbon in our skin. The life force in our blood. Look into adrenochrome. Adrenochrome is actually one of the most potent drugs to ever exist. It's created when you take a child and you put them in a state of extreme fear, and then they extract the blood from the back of your head and they drink it. And it gives them an insane high. Way, way stronger than heroin. Literally, adrenochrome, it's a real thing. It's a real thing. A real thing produced in your blood when you're in a state of fear. Now, these people take our children and they literally, Saul, And all those ideas of Hostel and all those horrible movies where they're torturing people. Yeah, and the Squid Games and the idea of the black no. Oh yeah, that's what King James started too. The black nobility games, where these rich ass people will get together, take people, and it was black slaves to begin with, by the way. And they would take us and they would put us in these. They would have us do the most horrible, disgusting things for their entertainment right in front of them. But this is the person who introduced your first version of the Bible. And it's funny because if you look into Christianity, everything to do about them through the Crusades and every way they moved, they came throughout the lands purging, forcing their God on us. The Bible was one of the main tools. In one hand, they was hitting us with the whip, and the next hand, they was the only thing they would cut out your tongue and wouldn't even let you read or talk. Like, if you could read as a slave, they would cut out your tongue, and I forgot exactly what they would do, but they used to do the most foul, heinous shit to a slave that would read. But you know the only thing they would let us read? The Bible. And you know what they were saying in that Bible, especially in those versions that they had in the slave plantation back then? Obey your slave master. In the Bible, they were literally saying, obey your slave master. It tells you who really wrote the fucking Bible. Think about it, because that slave master wasn't even abiding by his very Bible and religion that was pushing us during those times. But in that religion, in that Bible, you're a black slave reading this book about this white man in the sky and this white man Jesus and all these things that are telling you to be peaceful, don't crash out, turn the other cheek. Really think about it. Christianity also pacified us to make it think that the biggest thing religion does, especially for my species, the black Latino people, is we externalize our power and we don't all get together. So many, especially the older generation, you couldn't tell them nothing. They swore Jesus was coming. Where is he at? Where's your little white man? Meanwhile, the whole system full with all these white people oppressing you, and do you see the mind fuck? They have you waiting for a white man to come out the sky. But if you start to tap into God and they ain't these people literally in your face indirectly are claiming to be God just through the whole way of how they paint. Literally, they put a white man in the sky with a beard. He looks just like Santa, by the way, and Santa is one letter away from Satan, which is another way to get you to give him energy. And Satan gets you to praise him in Christmas. He gets you to praise him through religion. Zeus is tricky as fuck. And then he gets you thinking he's his creation. Because he created the white man, and he's really a black man if he incarnated into a physical vessel. Because that black is a term they place onto us. And this body belongs to us. 2 arms on the side, a head on top, 2 legs on the bottom. These white people were made in our image. Grafted by Zeus. God is a word they gave to us, but before it was God, we are just souls, a piece of the infinite mind. We are minds coming from the infinite mind within a body. Everything is energy, and I am living energy, able to mold and create. Everything around me has been created. Even though it was by these human beings, low vibrational beings, everything around me has been created. So how is it really that hard to start tapping into how nature was created, but by our higher minds? Everything was designed by us. This planet was designed by my people. What they want to call black Latino people. We've descended in frequency. We fell in frequency and gotten smaller. My giant bones are littered all in the soil, literally. And then they take the giant bones and they'll mold them all together and put an alligator skull on it and make up a name and call it a Triceratops Rex and make up dinosaurs. They haven't even existed on this planet for about 600 years, let alone billions of years ago. These people can't even get us on the moon yet, but you think they can go all the way back billions of years ago in time and study all these fossils and shit? We believe in all these fake-ass mental ideas they give us. And don't be questioning it. Meanwhile, actual reality is actually outside to experience. Most of us don't even actually go outside into nature, out in the planet, to start actually questioning and using our own mind. We just take a mental, programmed idea we're told about reality. Most people are living in a mental idea of the world. America isn't even a real thing. What's really here is the actual world outside. America doesn't exist when I actually step outside. It's an idea in your mind that you're making up. Like I'm saying, America can't be touched. It's not an actual thing. There's no actual physical lines. There's no actual real New Jersey. There's no state. It's all land. It's all planet Kai. It's all nature. But this is the power of us as a creator. Because America actually is real. But this is the power of you as a creator. So much that just by you thinking something so strongly in your thought and all these people thinking the same thought, look how real America has become. The idea of all these ideas that exist within the mental plane. Because you're a creator. Especially as a black Latino, you're a soul. So anything they get us to believe on the collective scale, we manifest. Again, black and Latinos are terms they placed upon my being. But this being, we are the thing that was on this planet to begin with. We are the thing this body belongs to. I'm trying to get us to split from being grouped into all these different subspecies human beings who are made in our image, who are blended amongst our populaces and spread amongst our continents. They pulled us out of nature. When they first pulled up to our planet, we were everywhere. And we weren't called black, we weren't called Latino, we were just all this, that complexion. But we had many different shades, don't get it wrong, because the black woman, there's tribes in Africa right now with people black as fuck with blonde hair and blue eyes. And there's also some of us that look red skinned, but we're still black. There's tribes in Africa with the Asian features, so we see where the Asians got their features from. Because literally every single feature, genetic form, they all get it from us. Because the being we are, that when you see a black person, this is what this body belongs to, and that person isn't black. You were made in the image of them. They're the highest form of expression of consciousness. A black person. Especially a black woman. And again, the real God of God is feminine. The real source is feminine. The man comes from the woman. So this is why Zeus, our own brother who fell, who's a soul, who if he incarnated would be a so-called black man. Because if he is a soul, and a soul is a piece of the universe, and everything is energy, and we are the source of energy. We are the highest vibration of expression of consciousness. And so when we manifest into physical matter, into solid density, we are what they call black, or Latino. But what's in our skin is literally carbon, neuromelanin. It channels the frequencies of the sun. You're the same thing the plants are. Our whole ether, we look like walking, when we let our ether grow out and before we even lock it, it's like one giant bush on our head. And it's a whole different structure from the dead straight hair follicles these white people have. They have hair. For example, these are some of the key differences. White people have hair. It's straight. It doesn't coil. We have ether. It coils and it feeds on the sun. It actually literally is antenna that communicates with everything around you. It communicates and feels the vibrations of everything around you. The longer your antenna is, your ether is, the more in connection to source and everything around you are, the stronger you become. Literally, this is where the story of Samson, Hercules, or in the Bible, Samson, the one who had the super long hair, it was like, Samson, what's the source of your strength? And Samson was a black man who was called a Nazarite. A Nazarite was a group of our species who would lock their ether and never cut it. They would swear a vow to never cut their ether, to never cut their locks. When they first came to this planet, their first civilization, these human beings were the Greeks. This is why they have all these statues of them half naked, clutching cloth and shit, looking barely civilized, all sitting amongst each other on the floor and shit. These Greeks were these human beings' first civilization, and this is why in the Greek civilization they have all that Greek mythology talking about the gods. And this is why in every ancient civilization they talk about these gods, right? These giant, quote-unquote, humanoid beings, because they try to say this physique is the human physique. But this is what I'm trying to get us to see, that before there was ever a white man made in this form, the only beings that had this form, this type of body, a head on top, 2 arms on the side, a leg on 2 legs on the bottom. This is the God physique. This is the God physique of the God species. Anunnaki God, to say our full name. Anunnaki. Anunnaki gods and goddesses. In our true form, we are 100 to 200 to 300 feet tall. And in the cosmos, we are still in our giant form. This is why they call us descendants as well, because we literally descended down into this physical realm, into this physical density on a soul level, and we all descended in frequency over the generations as these human beings have spread amongst our planet, killed more and more of the forest. The more they killed the forest, the more they polluted the air, and the more they took us out of nature and filled us with all these food that they fed us, filled with us with these vaccines. I mean, it's like the pig, the warthog to the pig. When you take a warthog and you put it in a pen, it becomes a small little pig. It loses all its hair. It literally metamorphosizes and shrinks based on its environment. If you take a snake that can grow 100 feet tall, but you put it in a cage that is only 10 feet from one side to the other, that snake will never even grow to reach its full potential. We are molded by the environment we are put in. So my being, my species, what they call Black and Latino, if they didn't have us huddled together, fed all this junk and all these vaccines and all this shit they put around us and all this technology, and we were out in nature, untampered with, allowed to fully grow to our fullest potential, we will literally start to metamorphosize and change and get bigger, stronger, start to tune in with the elements again, start to gain our spark and divinity again. Everything is energy and I am energy, so when I tap into myself on deeper levels, I can literally start to tune into the vibrations of everything around me and start to command and basically feel into the essence. So this is how we are elemental beings as well. The elemental forces are different expressions of energy. Fire, water, what they call earth or Kai, and air. Everything is particles of energy. Solids are just slow vibrating energy. When I bring heat, it would be melting, but when you see something melting, you're seeing an extreme, rapid, in your face, increase of the vibration to where all the particles are starting to scatter around. Now, literally everything is alive. Literally everything is alive, because if everything you leave will change, everything changes. Everything, this house will change. Everything will change. It's always changing. Nothing is staying in its state. Now you'll see as the water, if you leave the cap unscrewed, the water leaves from the cup over time. The crinkle, you can feel the life force in everything around you. Nothing is still. It only appears still, and it's an illusion. In your body, those energy particles are called cells. They give different categories to the energy particles depending on where it appears. But it's all energy particles. Now, what are you? You're this thing that can't be touched. You're this consciousness within the energy. So this is how you are God, literally. Because everything is energy, and you are the living energy, the consciousness. Now there's a source of God, which is the source, Mother Universe, the womb, the cosmic womb. In the beginning, there was only, the black woman manifested herself from dark matter energy in the universe. And she wasn't a black woman the way we conceptualize it here down in this physical realm. Because she wasn't this small, shrunken form of the descendant of the real black woman. Because the black woman down here, we are descendants of our real species in the cosmos. That are still fully their divine form. And we hail from Sirius X. That's our home. But we went from Sirius X outward to craft the entire cosmos. Particularly the God did, the masculine energy, because the woman, the black woman, created herself first, the feminine, the X gene, and then after a while, the woman then decided to create the masculine, and she gave the masculine the divine leader role, but she gave the masculine the divine leader role in the sense of she is the true divine leader who the masculine only gains his power through his respect and through carrying out her will. The divine feminine gives the orders, and the divine masculine carries out those orders. This is why if you look in the way the bees, for example, and all these different species that my species designed on this planet as we were setting it up, we modeled these species after us. The reason there's a queen bee and all the bees in the hive work together for the queen bee, that's modeled after us. But so again, this is why Zeus has done so much to demonize the woman in his Bible and everything he promotes. And because he's masculine energy who wants to be the one external God who turned against Source, his own self. So this is why he attacks the woman. He demonizes the woman. And he makes it seem like the masculine is in control of everything. And this is also why, because Zeus is the father of lies, not because father is the blood. Because Zeus is the father of lies, he's the father of duality, he calls the split, he's the reverse of the truth, right? Because the truth is, a lie is the truth on its head. He just takes the truth, he mixes up the details, and the lie always contains the truth. So it's funny because if you actually have a spiritual eye, and you're tapping enough, you can find the truth through the lie. This is why even through reading the Bible, if you're tapped in enough, you can find the truth in the Bible if you nitpick through the Bible and you see the gems within it and what it's inspired by. You don't read the actual story and you don't get lost in the words they've written on those pages. And that's why it takes a very strong soul. You should not just read the Bible and willy-nilly, because it's very easy to get, even if you're awoke, even if you start to wake up, start to take the, start to, what they would call the red pill, or you start to crack open your third eye, fucking shed off all these low vibrational frequencies they got on you, of all these fear states of how they push these religions on you even to begin with, because they get you fearing in hell and all these other horrible shits to even get you to believe it. Once you start to shake all that off of you and you start to literally tap in to real divine things, way outside of a Bible ever introduced to you, that you shouldn't need to be feeling like you're doing something wrong, all because you're actually trying to do the good thing outside of a Bible. What if I'm doing way more good outside of a Bible than the Bible ever introduced to me, but y'all are so sick and contorted with y'all envious, weird, Satan-controlled God worship to praise that jealous God, to have you thinking that you should attack any other being outside of life who doesn't fit into your philosophy? That isn't real energy. That isn't real divine love. That's fear of people using their own minds outside of your particular rhetoric that you want to fit everyone in. Y'all want control. And then tell me why, if Christianity is so godly, why is it that the higher you get in do you know how many it was 2 years ago, for example, there were hundreds of thousands of people in the French church and European church who got arrested and were getting investigated for child molestation, for all this horrible pedophile shit. Why is it that the people who get deeper and deeper into that religion energy do some of the sickest and foulest shit, and the people who are the closest, who be leading these masthead churches, they be the sickest and foulest people, billionaires? Look at these mega churches, for example. There's a thing called a mega church where they believe in getting donated money. So this person walks up to this stage in front of hundreds of thousands of people, pretends to be curing people. He'll have actors walk up to this stage. He'll put their hand on his head, be like, "I cure you," blah, 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 and do all this shit. And he's preaching. And meanwhile, he then hops off and goes and gets on a private jet. And he talks about how he believes he's divinely bestowed by God to live in billions of fortunes of wealth. These are the people who are pushing this Christianity. Like, the people around me think I'm tapped. I'm not, like, I'm way beyond the state you are in. I know where y'all are in, and I went way beyond that. I'm not, like, the thing that has y'all's soul being pulled to religion, I'm not numb to that. I've just tapped into way deeper. I've actually done the actual divine thing. I've actually tapped into my own self, life itself. The thing that they're inspired of God by. They speak of God in their churches and then walk out them churches to destroy the world and all of life around them in their society. But they know God. Their whole way of living is an ignorant, low vibrational, carnal, tied to their body state of consciousness. To where they walk out that church and then have no actual higher energy in their life. They're all hypocrites. They all do low vibrational, degenerate, zombified shit. And they live in a society that's killing the whole planet. Like I'm saying, y'all are in a human-crafted version of God where you're worshiping a white man in the sky and you're listening to his boxed-in version of God, but the actual God isn't anything you think it is, and it's what created the planet. And you couldn't possibly be in tune with the actual God because you're killing its creation. No, literally. Because you think that the cities are more important and your human narrative that you were given of thinking you're a human. And if you're a black or Latino, you think you're a human, one. And two, you think the human world is the only thing that matters. And the planet here is just here for you to drain and kill. And that the actual planet outside of these cities and towns isn't its own. Like, you think everything is centered around you. And you're the only thing alive. And this is the only world with life. and you literally take the same thing in life alongside you, because all your ideas of life come from a human, a white man, or someone who lives alongside of you, who created something that you're taking like it's truth. All the ideas you take that you're scared to use your own mind to tap into life to figure out yourself, you take all these other people's ideas. If you look at the source of all these ideas, these are human minds coming up with these theories. They're not truth, they're theories at best. They don't know what life is, they're giving you a theory. And you take it like it's truth. Meanwhile, whatever God actually is the thing that made the trees outside, and the soil outside, and the planet outside, the thing that these cities are killing and taking from to exist. Every single second these cities exist, they're killing the planet more and more. But you think this society and this world, these humans are connected to God? They are connected to God, but their God is Satan, Zeus. They are connected to God, but their God is Satan, Zeus. They just have you thinking that when you tap into their Christianity and their religion, y'all are praying to a whole different idea of the same entity, though. Because you're still praying to Zeus, whether you want to or not. When you pray outside yourself, you're becoming spiritual prey to spiritual predators, which is why they tell you to pray. You're being feasted upon. All your life force is being externalized. You're giving all your power away. Meanwhile, you are the savior you look for. You are the consciousness that leads your life and creates all the seeds that then manifest into what you live, what you reap. So word, I'm divinely channeling, I'm just flowing, I'm letting it go, you feel me? This video is going for 46 minutes. It's now 7:13. We started at 6:20 something. So yeah. I'm moving forward once more. Having, again, been in a rut for a few weeks now. Of on and off eating. I mean, I haven't fully ever cleansed from the man-made drug food. Because the thing is, I only I only stop eating it, but I never then go into the reality where I fully get away from it. Like, I stop eating it, I experience the reality of what's on the other side of when I start to eat the fruits and tap into my higher self and, build up higher life force and higher energy. But I keep sinking back down to the same base state because sooner or later, I then eat this food once more and it keeps me locked within this low vibrational stagnant reality. And I see how the longer I've gone, the best I've been is when I, just a few months ago, for example, when I was like a month eating only fruits, a month having drunken straight fruit juices, real fruit juices, where it's not water and chemicals, like squeezed from the fruit juices, H3O2, hydrogen water. I literally see how it is that my whole reality starts to all be shifted into a higher vibration, where all the things that when I'm in a low frequency after eating the man-made drug food and locked within my lower self, all these low vibrational energies around I that are in my reality, that make it seem like, shit just is fucked up, that the energy isn't going anywhere. It's like the same beings around I, who when I'm in a lower vibration, are the beings talking shit on I, are the same beings who are praising I when I'm in a high vibration, whether they know it or not. Because my mom, for example, my human being mother, at one moment when I am in a lower vibration, she doesn't know it, but she's responding to my energy, whether she understands it or not. Because literally, as soon as I shift into my higher self and I cleanse from the man-made drug food and I'm building that higher energy, she doesn't understand what's pulling her to I, or the resonance or the energy she's feeling, or just in general, it's also the energetic state I create too, because I'm in a much more peaceful state. I'm not arguing. And just in general, it's the energy and the life force I'm carrying through, and just the timeline shift to where, because I'm walking to my higher self, and removing all the lower vibrational spirits and low vibrational energy assorted with eating the low density. Because when I'm eating food, I'm eating a form of low energy. So I'm directly pouring all this low energy into my body. So I'm killing all this energy I'm building up. And I'm basically going against my divine path. I'm going against everything I'm supposed to be doing. Everything I'm saying I'm going to do. I'm basically always constantly shifting my timelines to where at one moment I'm walking within the frequency associated with the energy I'm created of me being in my higher self, of the reality where when I'm eating the apples and the fruits and the oranges, and the reality of what exists within that state, right? That higher state. And then there's a whole different reality that I shift into when I choose to. Let's say I'll eat a Pop-Tart and then I'll go on a crash where I then start making all this food and I binge and I eat and I literally feel a whole shift in my consciousness. I might fall asleep, and I'll wake up in a whole different state. And all these things will be like the day before, where it is that I was in my higher self eating fruits. And me and my mom might have just been peaceful, talking good, all these plans. She's talking about how she's literally resonating without her knowing on my frequency of thought of when I'm on a higher frequency and I'm thinking of higher thoughts and higher things. I walk inside. Next thing you know, my mom, she's no longer talking shit about how I'm not doing anything. She's actually motivating me to then be like, I feel like you can create all these things. Talking about me buying land and a farm. Talking about, it's like some inner just shifts that's alongside of the reality that I'm in, to where when I'm in my higher self and I'm actually moving how I'm supposed to, outside of being in a low state where it is that I would then, need to, not saying that I shouldn't get a job, but I'm saying when it is that I'm in my higher self and I'm doing way more divine things where I'm moving in a way that's way beyond any of that, and then I'm using my own soul force to attract these things to me. It's like we're no longer talking about these low vibrational things, and I'm no longer stuck in those low vibrational realities that feed into the low vibrational stagnant state. So I see it as is that my whole reality shifts alongside the energy state I'm in. And the beings around I respond to I according to the energy state I'm in, whether they're aware of it or not. And when I'm in a higher energy, literally the whole way they go about interacting with me is different. Now, whether it be because they're aware of it or not, or they can feel the energy on me or not. But my vibration is what my vibration is, and that is communicated to the room around I. So when I walk in from being outside in a super divine frequency of tapping into these divine energies, and I pull that, and my skin is glowing, and I'm full with this life force, and I have this deep clarity in my eyes, this deep presence, that's felt from everything around I. And then you can see the whole life that be building in my body, my ether, my skin. When I do the right energy work, my whole body looks way more alive. Not only that, when I stop eating all this low vibrational man-made food, I'm actually stronger. My body's getting more ripped. I start feeling like I can sprint, like I can do all types of super heightened level of physical capabilities. I don't even express it or do much with it, but for example, I be feeling like I can punch through the wall. And there was a time where I was 7 days eating only fruits, right?
You opened the fucking package. No, I didn't. Why is it open on my bed? You're gonna see it and lie to me? And I said all the packages that come in this house until Christmas don't get fucking open.
Look, that people in the background, that's them. That's my mother. They're talking about some low vibrational shit, arguing. But so, like I was saying though, the state I be in when I start to call all my energy into my being and I start to build I's life force and tune it into my energy on a divine level, I feel extremely enhanced physically on all levels, but especially physically. I start be feeling like I got superhero level physical abilities. I feel like I can literally, bro, on some ninja fucking samurai warrior fucking But like on some deeper shit, like I want to make, like I want to like, for example, if I want to go like 2 weeks in only fruits, right? And then I want to go somewhere where I can show off my physical ability, because you can't tell me this is normal. The shit I be able to start doing, the less I eat, and then when I fill my body with the actual energy sources from the fruits and actual real energy, and the shit I'm starting to feel like I can do. Like, no, for real. Like, I should be studying. No, actually, though. Because even though I understand what this world actually is, and that they actually understand all these much more divine things, they just don't want us to tap into it on a mass collective scale. They know all these deeper truths. And all these things we can do with our body and life, and how we can heal with the herbs and the fruits and shit. So, when it is that I feel like I discovered all these anomalies and shit, the reason I don't even move with that type of energy, I don't even slightly feel like I'm some type of genius who, even though I understand I am a genius on my species level, because the word genius is genius. In the genes, it's in my genes. My species, Black Latinos, are all genetically geniuses in our genes. But I don't move as if I'm like, I discovered all these medical breakthroughs of life, because I know this system isn't for that. The system is trying to keep all that suppressed. They're trying to keep everything within this 3D frequency. They're trying to keep everything locked within this low vibration. That's why they make it cold. Even though winter's breaking down more and more, but winter is an illusion. Cold is an illusion. They have to artificially make cold. The natural state is the sun and being out all the time, and the planet being one big jungle feeding on what they call heat. But heat is another word for life, because when something starts to move, it's coming alive. When something starts to become still, I mean, the closest thing to complete death is frozen. Sub-zero. Frozen. A block of ice. Because it has no vibration in it. But as soon as that ice starts to melt, it's gaining life. It's moving. It's becoming alive. And so if mere movement is vibration, and everything is vibration, and the more I vibrate, the more I create what they call heat. Heat is just another word for life then. And if everything on this planet was never originally in a solid state, but has only been locked within the solid density through them initiating winter and freezing the planet when they first invaded our planet. When these human beings first invaded our planet through portals on the Caucasus Mountains, first we let them on our planet. It was open arms. They came with the Pleiadians, a group of extraterrestrials that look just like white people, 7-foot tall aliens with blonde hair and blue eyes and golden type white skin. That's the Pleiadians. So when they first put up on our planet, these human beings made in our image, Caucasians, through the Caucasus Mountains, through portals in the Caucasus Mountains in Europe, they came with the Pleiadians, and they said, we come in peace. The Pleiadians did. And the Pleiadians were kind of the shepherd for these human beings. They were like the spokesperson. When they pulled up to our planet, we pitied them, because we remembered where these human beings came from, because we remembered the war that broke out on this planet when Zeus was trying to create these human beings on this planet. Because this is Planet Kai, our home away from home, the last planet created within the 9th universe, the 999th planet, the blue womb of the cosmos. For it is said that when you look at Planet Kai from far away, with the way the oceans and the waters look, it kind of looks like a woman holding her womb. Right? But so, Planet Kai, we made this kind of as like a home away from home. That was the intention of this planet. And this particular realm within Planet Kai is Atlantis. This whole realm is Atlantis. So we were the Atlanteans, but throughout the whole realm. And that was our state within the 33rd dimension. We were on the 33rd dimension when these human beings first came to our planet. This form belongs to us, and we never called ourselves Black or Latino. We were a lot bigger in size. The trees were a lot bigger. The planet was a lot bigger. Everything was bigger. None of it was in a solid density. But everything within the higher densities feel just as real to you. Like when you're in a gas state, you can touch the gases around you, and they feel just as real as when you're in a solid state and you touch the solids around you. like if you're in a spirit form and you're touching other things, like on the etheric plane, for example, right, which is what the spirit plane really is, the 4D, which is kind of like the gas state of what exists right on top of this realm. Because we can see the solids and we can see the liquids and we can see a few of the gases, but then a lot of gases vibrate high enough to where we can't see them. But the slowest vibrating gases we could still see, like smoke, some smokes and stuff, right? But a lot of the gases, basically the gas plane is the spirit plane, the 4D, the density right above when things start to vibrate fast enough to be above this physical. For things drop down, we come from higher densities. Things drop down to start vibrating slower. Being in a solid, slow density is artificial. We have dropped down to this frequency. There used to never even be solids in the way we think. Now, solids existed on a universal scale as a state of matter. But for this planet and just for in general, we never programmed it for us to live within the solid state, especially on this planet. So we dropped down to this density. We came down here. This is the aftermath. This isn't where we rise up from. So the 4D, the spirit realm, that's kind of like the gas plane, and it's the plane of existence where you can see a little remnants of it when you see the smoke here, the slowest vibrating states of gas there. But gas is just a word placed upon all particles of energy. It's all just particles of energy at a different vibratory scale. And so the slowest vibrations are the solids within the solid plane, right? And because I'm trying to break down the science of it, because what is slowness? Because when you're moving, you're creating what they call heat. That's vibration, right? The opposite of heat is cold. So cold is basically just taking away the vibration. It's the opposite of life, right? So they're basically freezing everything and locking it into this low vibration, right? And they lock everything to keep it. And then even when it goes to the trees and nature and everything, the reason nature appears so still and dead is because they're keeping nature locked within the solid density. The whole planet they have locked within the solid density. Now, this is really why they talk about global warming and they're so afraid of the sun. Because, one, the natural state of this planet is for the sun to always be out. There is never supposed to be a cloud in the sky, right? But so if the sun is always out and it is always being poured this extremely high vibrational plasma energy, heat, all this heat onto the planet, the state of the vibration of the matter around us all starts to change. And it's starting to rise back up from this solid density. Everything we've been told is a lie. We've been living in an illusion. Quite literally. We've been living in an illusion. And most of our ideas of what reality is have been programmed to us through the TV shows, the movies. I mean, life itself is like something that exists outside of this whole idea that we've been building and collectively manifesting to place upon life. Like the whole idea of the world of living in America and living in this human being society and all the human being developments of all the human being world, like the whole idea of that, right? And that being the world, it's like we manifested that up to this point of living in a house, driving in these cars, wearing clothes, living in this human being type narrative of life, and the whole way the world flows within it. We've placed that upon life through our own collective belief. And it's only just now been built up to this point. These cities and towns have really only existed to this point for about 2 to 100 years. They've written themselves into our history. These human beings have written themselves into our history. The furthest they go back is Greece and Rome. And that really was only about 500 years ago, which is really why the Roman Colosseum and even the ancient pyramid, all that shit is still here. Because they've actually have just now brought us more, over the past couple generations, We just yesteryear, we were still in the woods together. No, like literally, just yet, this shit was not that far away. They only had us on lockdown this much controlled for about 70 to 80 years. Maybe 90 years, since like the 1910s. They were getting more and more of our ancestors to come out of nature. More and more of us to lose our ancient ways. And come into their physical human being world. Living amongst them. Trying to please them. Live like the white man. Maybe he'll accept us if we do everything the white man does. That's how they had my people thinking. We do everything to please this white man. Meanwhile, no matter what we did, they always treated us funny as fuck. And all it did was hurt us and bring us more out of our essence. But really, it's way deeper than a human being a white man thing. Because we understand, for those who are really tapped in, that these human beings have made a pact with two fallen extraterrestrial races. These Draconian reptilians and these Pleiadians. Now, a lot of your world leaders, a lot of your politicians, your Pope, your Queen Elizabeth, your royal families, a lot of these aren't even human beings. A lot of these are Draconian shapeshifters, reptilian shapeshifters, who then take on the form of a white person or something else, and they know how to play with the light particles, the light photons. So they can appear to your retinas and communicate to you to appear to be something they're not. But their form is breaking down. A lot of these people are looking freakier and freakier to me by the day. Black and Latino people always look like us, so it's weird because it's like when I look at a black person, we are us. Like it never looks off. But then a lot of these white people, I can see a real white person. And there's a lot, and it'd be a lot of the people who are actors, a lot of the people on your TV, in front of your screens, a lot of these people they're looking off, and it's like, I don't know what it is. Maybe they don't got as much children blood to drink, so their forms are breaking down. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the sun's getting too strong for them. Something's happening, though, to where I'm starting to see them more and more for what they are. They're looking freakier and freakier. And it has nothing to do with age either, because I can tell what it looks like for a normal white person to age. A normal human being, too. So it has nothing to do with age. Aging doesn't make you look how some of these people be hopping on these TV looking, I swear to God. Like, I don't even know how they be feeling comfortable to hop on the news to parade around trying to pretend like there's something normal. Looking the way they be looking. On my soul. And it's funny because just within the past 2 years, never before in the history of all of mental disorders, people having schizophrenia, hundreds of years for y'all to come up with this thing, because this has been a thing that people should have been experiencing if it's actually what it is. All of a sudden, in the past 2 years, tell me why they made this thing called the demon face syndrome. I haven't heard about it in a while, but I remember when I first told my mom about it, because I heard a human being reflection, some white man on TikTok, who was talking about it, and there was a few other people talking about it, how they were just starting, it's like people around them, they starting to like see them for what they really are. And then out of nowhere, tell me why they then, boom, push out this new term on the internet to gaslight people called the demon face syndrome. Where if you look at people's faces, certain people's faces, they're going to look like there's some type of weird demonic entity. Where the fuck did you hear that before? What the fuck? And if that really was a thing, why the fuck didn't that exist for literally decades ago? Y'all could have been, man. That should have been a thing if it was an actual thing that y'all aren't trying to just coincidentally push out to counter the energy. It's like whenever there's a high vibrational energy, they mirror the energy with something within the 3D physical matrix to gaslight the souls who are too weak enough from tapping into that truth. So if you can't break the low vibrational barrier of being tapped into your soul enough to not even care about the opinions of others around you, to know what you're seeing, and to actually see these beings in this real form, then you would be gaslighted to never even want to tap into that. Or think you're tripping. Because they made a new term that when you look up online, why are these people in the news looking weird? Oh, now they got the demon face syndrome. But my point with that saying is, Black and Latino people, we are all us. None of us, because we are us. And no being can shapeshift into our form. They can only shapeshift into the form of these human beings. White people, Chinese people, Japanese people, Arabians. And then, of course, there's our species who just straight up are on a low vibration. Because, I mean, we're fighting against the fallen. And souls are like, souls, before there was a human being with only a spirit, which almost all forms of life have a soul. So the human being or the white person is the only being that was made in an artificial way that doesn't have a soul. Apart from beings that we made to just only have a spirit, like some animals and shit. But almost everything in life has a soul. Apart from the human being, because they were made unnaturally by Zeus. And Zeus, he was a masculine entity who turned against Mother Universe, so he no longer possessed the ability to create on the level of how Mother Universe can create. So when he was creating these human beings, these white people, he can only do the best he can do, and he couldn't give them a soul. So, but as soul beings, we have always been here. We are the consciousness of creation, right? We are, I'm trying to find a word for it. We are, because it's like every being has free will to do whatever it wants. Now, as souls, we are the peak of consciousness. We are the thing that all life emanates from. The thing that sees all of life. Like, all of life is around us, and we're the eye that's seeing everything. We're the thing that everything is being recorded by. We're the reason everything is even alive. We're the purpose for life. Literally. Literally. As a soul. We're the purpose for life, right? Now, we're the highest form of consciousness, the highest expression of life. As souls. And Zeus and many souls who chose to side with him, they merely just chose within their free will to move within low vibration and turn against their own self and act within a state of ego. So they fell from source. They got full of pride, especially Zeus, and they wanted to control life, control creation externally, instead of tuning in internally and being in connection to all of life around them and treating all of life equal. So, of course, even though these shapeshifters can't ever shapeshift into the form of a Black or Latino, we're just straight up battling fallen gods anyway, who on a soul level are what we are before we step in a body. So they're us on a conscious level who are still in higher planes, who control this realm through the airways and the ether webs and you know, islands above us, like the island of Sumeru. There's a lot of low vibrational spiritual forces that kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? They kind of orchestrate and guide and puppeteer this realm behind the scenes. These fallen gods and fallen entities that they get you to praise to. And a lot of people are under spiritual possession. But so, One-third team, One-third team, 7:40, Sunday, November 23rd. I said 1:13 as in it's been an hour and 13 minutes for this video. It's 7:40 p.m. You feel me? And so, yeah. I move with the divine intention to once again rise up from this man-made drug food, to cleanse from this man-made drug food. Every time I always move with the intention. I never move with the intention to think I'm going to go back. I always give it my all, or at least try to. So the intention is always to fully rise from and never eat the food again, to never introduce it into my body again. Now this is why I always get pulled into eating it one more time, because I always feel like I know yes I have it in me to stop eating it. And I've already done it on extended periods. So when it is that I reintroduce the man-made drug food back into my reality, and then I fall into a low vibration to where I exist alongside of the man-made drug food for a while, one, it tends to linger around the eye, and it can take a few days after choosing to eat it again to then break free from it. But then two, in general, from 2020 to now, one of the biggest reasons as to why I still choose to eat it is because it's always around the eye, from my family and being in the house, and just it always being in my access. And because it's always in my access, it's always a crutch to go back to. It never feels good, so it's never actually a crutch once I actually get duped into opening myself up to that reality. Because it's a trick. It's like an illusion. It's like a false idea of what's awaiting for me, when it is that as soon as I actually put it in my mouth and I shift into that state, I then immediately regret it and feel spiritually depressed on a way deeper level than depression, because it's a much deeper thing on a soul level. Because it's changing my whole feeling as a soul, my whole being of connection to life, everything about I. And then I feel extremely isolated and alone because everyone around I is in a zombie state to where they're ignorant to the truths I'm tapping into, and they think I just believe in some shit that I'm literally doing and is the truth and I'm living. And then none of them can relate to I on any type of level, so I feel extremely like I'm all I got. But I'm not all I got, because I have many different spiritual forces and ancestors and cosmic forces and God that I'm connected to, but they're on higher densities. Now, the main reason I have kept this man-made drug food lingering in my life for so long is, part of the reason is I understand at any moment I can drop it, and I have it within me to drop it. And so because I could drop it, and I feel like any time could be the last moment, so once it's the last and it feels so good, it only takes about 15 to 20 hours to start feeling good again. But when it is that I'm in that state, I'm in that state. So those 15 hours can feel like hell, because I'm stuck. I drop back down to a low vibration, light code lockdown, to where all the energy becomes blocked off. So then I get stuck in this 3D solid state through eating the 3D solid dense foods. And so it's like I get locked back into time, locked back into all these low vibrational physical things, the physical laws. And so I get re-sucked into a low vibrational energy that I have to re-cleanse from. And it really only takes about 15 to 20 hours to start feeling good again. And so that's why it'll be a thing of, it's like my ego gets me to keep being like, I can eat it one last time. I'm going to eat all I want and eat as much as I want to feel super full and content. And then I'm not going to want it after. But then these feelings of gluttony mixed with fear of missing out, mixed with attachment to the food, mixed with false energies of attraction through smell and seeing it, and seeing all these other people eating it and thinking there's something there I want to go back to. All these energies mixed in to where it's always lingering around now as a possibility, a crutch to go back to, an easy cop-out. Because when I eat this man-made drug food, especially after I cleanse from it for a period of time, let's say I haven't eaten sugar for 3 days. If I eat sugar again, I'm going to go through a whole comatosis where I'm probably going to fall asleep and get doped out and all, because sugar is a real drug that you just are always on, so your body's used to it and adapted to the effects of it. But sugar is a real drug. All these things in the food are real drugs that have you deeply addicted to it. We're literally choosing voluntarily to eat. We don't need to be eating any of it. It's all choice, an addition to our being, specifically, especially if you're a Black or Latino. The moment it is I tapped into the truth that I can stop eating all this man-made drug food that's literally doing all this horrible toxic shit to me, and then I can only eat an apple, and then go as long and never stop. It's like an uphill from there. It's like infinite possibilities, opening the door. Everything starts to feel good. My body's getting strengthened. Everything I'm supposed to be feeling. Off of eating only one apple and then drinking a bunch of water and not even moving in any type of way what they tell me I need. So what the fuck am I? I'm something that comes out of nature. I'm a divine nature being that they pulled out of nature and put alongside in their cities and towns. They got my species living like these human beings when these human beings were made in our image. How backwards is that? We're the source they come from, but they got us inside of their cities and towns on the bottom of the barrel, chasing after their human-made money, working their jobs, feeding their system to keep their cancerous system running on our planet that's draining everything from it. We're so scared to stop working these jobs, to stop feeding this system. But the moment all this crashes, we can then go out on our planet, live on tap into our own abundance that naturally exists within the planet, and live in way more abundance. And then you're also a soul, so a lot of you are way too scared to lose y'all body. Y'all think life is only here. Y'all don't think y'all came here with a mission. My life is way outside of here. I came here. I'm not scared to lose this. If anything, when I start to state in my truth and I'm doing everything that I should be doing, I'm ready to give this body up because I know it's going to feel good as fuck when I go back up to the cosmos. Because I didn't sell my soul when I wasn't doing no degenerate debauchery down here. I wasn't hurting my people down here. I wasn't using the magnetism of my soul to lead souls away down here. To be a false light, a false prophet, which is many of your celebrities. Many of your celebrities are some of the strongest souls that we send down to this planet. And then as soon as they get to this planet, they get to forgetting what they are. They get to thinking they're a human being. They get to wanting to get all attracted to illusions of fame and wealth. And they just become a false light within the system used to pull all the other souls and keep them distracted. But a lot of y'all really think this is all life is. Meanwhile, the whole time we're living here, they got us in a low vibrational zombie state where you don't even feel fully alive to begin with. Y'all are so scared to lose y'all bodies, to fight for the truth, to fight for something of a higher purpose, to lay down your body in the name of God, to fight this system. But then your whole experience in this system, you're a prisoner. You're shackled. They're feeding on you energetically. You're disconnected from all the divinity you come from all the higher forms you come from. Your entire experience down here. If it is that you're living within this light code lockdown, believing you're a human being, eating their man-made drug food. They set up all these weapons around us, to keep us hindered, to keep us in a low vibrational state, alter our genetics, keep us distracted, zombified out. And then the food, they do so much to make it so addictive that to the moment when you start to wake up from it and start to try to get away from it, it's now so deeply in your being that it's like now you gotta fight as much as you can to even try to get away from it. You feel me? So they done put all these weapons around us and all these things for this time. For when it is that the souls start to awaken, we start to all start fight against the system on a much grander scale. A lot of this shit they done put around us, down to the technology, the phones being introduced in the past 20 years. It was all really for these new generations that was coming here and now within this divine time. For time isn't even real, but from 2020 onward has been a divine, prophesized, cosmic, thing taking place. Something much deeper taking place. And it isn't within time. So time broke down after 2020. And life itself is something outside of time. So the cosmos and life isn't moving off of time. It's just moving off of introducing and ushering all these energies into the planet and communicating with all the indigenous beings on this planet. If you're black or Latino or mixed, you are getting even human beings, even a lot of white people. We're getting a lot of energies into our bodies, into our minds, into our genetics. And it's manifesting in different forms. But it's amping up more and more and more to where the whole state of the planet, as of right now, things have changed so much, even from like 2022, 2023, 2020 especially, where it's like everything is reaching a boiling point. But even if it doesn't, we're not focused on what's happening in the system, because a lot of that shit is a distraction, just trying to keep you away from tapping into what's actually important. Tap into your soul. Well, so yeah. Now it's an hour, 24 minutes. You feel me? Almost 8 o'clock. And so again, I move forward with this divine intention to cleanse from this man-made drug food once more. To break free from this man-made drug food. To tap into my higher self. To free myself from this low vibrational stagnant reality. And walk within my divine purpose, my divine path. So yeah, this is Eon. This is the Eons of Truth. I send peace to you, divine insight, divine love, high vibrational energy, and word. Eon, tapping out. Peace.